watching your film and docudrama was a very good experience. Yeah. So I really appreciate you making that film. What is your advice to young filmmakers who are venturing it out in 2024?
Find your own voice. Find what you want to say, because we get influenced by a lot of directors. Try to understand that people who we are actually influenced by, they have their own voices. I don't think so. Being a good person is important. A lot of people have said that it's very important to be a good person, to be a good artist. That is okay, but I feel empathetic. You have to be empathetic.
I think with passion, there's also a sense of responsibility to each individual and professional that you have to be open to learn.
If good happens, then it's like कि किस्मत अच्छी थी और बच गए, और अगर बुरा हुआ तो मतलब work harder.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is your host Bharat Mago, and today on the Unfiltered Executive, we have Mr. Aditya Bhasin. He's a filmmaker known for Super 30, Gunpat, and very recently won the Best Director for Docudrama at Cannes Film Festival 2024. Thank you so much, Aditya. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me here.
I've been very excited to do this because thankfully you allowed me to watch the film which is not yet released, which is Pata Laapata. Also what you won at Cannes this year. But before we get into that, I just want to, talk about who you are, because mera motto has always been that we are what we have experienced and we will be what we shall experience, and experiences teach us a lot. So what shaped the Aditya I have in front of me today? And we can start from scratch. Where were you born? How was your schooling like? And what actually piqued or influenced you to pursue filmmaking?
Okay. Firstly, thank you for having me over here. And so I think if you talk about filmmaking, I feel a part of it was always in me. Somebody just had to push me off a cliff. Because I remember when I was a kid, up till class 6th or 7th, I used to have these bunch of toys with me, 25 toys. And every day after coming from school, I only used to make stories with them. I think we all used to do that.
Yeah.
But I did it for quite a long time. And I was a little neurotic about it till the point where I used to have a radio. And I used to also play playback songs while, doing those stories. So I don't know, somewhere it was there. And it was in school when I went for an exchange program to Germany. And coincidentally, the person who was hosting me, he was a filmmaker. So when I was staying with him, he suggested me that you're here for 21 days, why don't you make a short film, I'll teach you. So that's kind of like what just pushed me off the cliff. And
who was this gentleman?
So his name is Ernst Fröhlich. He's in Stuttgart. So he used to make films over there. So he made me help my first short film, gave me an editing software also. So then I kind of like started doing it on my own once I came back. So that's how it started.
You guys are still connected?
We guys are still connected. So I also sent him my movie link right now sometime back. Right. So I have not met him since then, but I do intend to meet him sometime soon.
Very nice, very nice. So this was class 7th?
This was class 10th.
The class 10th, okay. So class 10th you did that, and then that was your foray into knowing what a short film is and what filmmaking is. Then what was your first project after that? So
then I was just making short films. Like once I came back, I think before joining college, I had made about 4 to 5 short films, and they were really bad. But the idea was to understand filmmaking and understand what exactly, because I wanted to explore myself before whether I like it or not. And a lot of things, sometimes what happens is you understand कि ये नहीं करना है. This is something which you should not do next time. Yeah. So I was learning that, and it gave me a sense of clarity that this is what I want to pursue in college. So henceforth I joined Bachelor's in Film and TV Production in Amity. The reason why I joined there was one, that FTI and other places offer diplomas. So my parents wanted me to get a graduation degree, and the teachers over there who were teaching at that time, they were all ex-FTI pass outs. Okay. So we were lucky enough to get trained or tutored by them.
Very nice. I've heard a lot of good things about Amity filmmaking.
Right. Okay.
Not Amity per se, because I'm from Amity also.
Okay.
We can't scrutinize our alma mater. Right. It has actually taught us a lot, and college is always a good experience. So during the course of your college, any significant films or short films which you made which you have published, or was it always on a project basis that I'm just doing this for college and this is never seeing the light of the day?
No, so they're on YouTube actually. It's there on my channel. But so my diploma film, I think I made that, and then I was making other things also. But my diploma film was out there. It was about 50 minutes. We made it in the end of third year. More importantly, it was about picking up from the teachers as to what traits or what disciplines should one acquire if I want to pursue writing and direction. So that was about that, finding my own voice. What kind of films do I want to make? What kind of filmmakers do inspire me? So we saw a lot of cinema which was, say, French New Wave or Italian Realism, and all of that did happen. So still, I was trying to identify, what exactly fits with me. So it was a lot of film watching, film analysis, so and finding your own self. So that's what was happening.
So I did theater for 9 years of my life, and I also had a very different perspective to films. And I've seen there's a significant difference of people who follow theater versus people who actually follow filmmaking in analyzing a film altogether. So what is your perspective of analyzing a film, and how has it evolved over the years, starting from when you started your college versus by the time you did it, and then pursuing this career for 5 years? How has that analysis evolved over the years for you?
So I do it. I have two ways to go about it. One is that because a lot of people who once get engaged into filmmaking, they start looking at it from an industry point of view, very technically. So I feel first you should just watch it purely as an audience,
Yep.
not thinking about anything, but how is the film affecting you and what is the person trying to say, without forming any judgment beforehand. And then if I really like it, then I'll go into the details ki acha ye scene, how would he have written it, why has he used this music, why has he cut it like this. So I feel you should like not mix both of them. A lot of times people mix that. So one is like you just watch it and see what is it is doing to you, and then you study it. So that's what I do for myself.
And when you start studying it or analyzing it, what's the first thing you look into?
The first of all, एक तो story क्या है, like what is he trying to say, then what exactly are the characters, कहाँ उनने set करी है, and so और क्या हो जाता है ना, because say for example whatever the story is, we don't see the whole of it. We see it in parts and pieces, and then we fix the bridges in between with our imagination. So which parts is he showing, वो start कहाँ कर रहा है, वो first 10 minutes में how is he setting it up, and then how am I following the characters, why is he choosing to show me this scene only, why not this. So all of these things basically is something. And music also a lot, because I feel that's a very integral part of filmmaking. So music sometimes, because it really enhances, and where has he used music, where has he kept silences. So it depends on what film are you watching exactly.
Well, that makes sense. And as a student, what is your as a student, what was your first significant learning being a filmmaker, and how did it shape you to be a filmmaker eventually?
When I was in college, I realized that a lot of people were very interested in the technical aspects of filmmaking. For example, कि कौन सा lens use करना चाहिए, कौन सा camera use करना चाहिए, red is very nice. And so I thought that is secondary. A lot of people could not realize and write their stories.
Yes.
A lot of people would ideate कि we would want to make this, but I'm saying that comes secondary. Camera, and you have to find your own voice. What do you want to tell? What kind of stories do you want to tell? You might ideate, but then you have to execute and write it.
Yes.
So I feel that's the more important part, that whatever it is. And a lot of people don't finish writing because they have a sense of judgment कि नहीं हम अच्छे से नहीं लिख पाएंगे. Of course आप अच्छे से नहीं लिख पाओगे, but you have to finish it and make it, and then you see where you stand. So I feel it's more about leave that whole camera and like fixation with technical equipments. I know a lot of directors today who are directing and they don't even know which lens is being used, or and actually it's not their job. If you know it, great.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you, there are a lot of successful directors who don't even know which camera they're using. So it's like they are so invested in the characters and the story. So I feel that is something which you need to understand in your initial days.
So that is very, very important, because at the end of the day, creativity and your unique voice is what creates a film, not the camera. You can choose even a simple iPhone and create a fantastic movie out of it. So yeah, technology comes later. That I 100% agree with. When we're talking about your journey and you foraying into short films and then eventually into documentary, So which was the first short film, official short film, and which was the first documentary also for you?
So the first official short film was Three's a Couple. It came out some time back,
Yes.
and first documentary was Pata Laapata, which is yet to come out right now. So these were the firsts actually.
So the official releases you're
Releases,
talking about,
yes,
okay.
yes, yes.
But I'm sure you already had, you know.
So documentaries, this was my first documentary. I've
Wow,
never made a
okay.
documentary in my life. Short films I've made about 14, 15, but again, they were just to experiment and see
Got
exactly.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
And how did those 14, 15 short films actually help you in documentary?
So yeah, so that's actually a very interesting thing. See, those 14, 15 short films did not necessarily help me in documentary filmmaking, but every time I made a mistake, so I know 1400 on one film I learned ये 10 चीजें नहीं करनी है, these 10 things.
Yeah.
So at least I, by the time I was making my first official short film, I knew 140 things which I should not do, you know. So that helped me a lot, because a lot of times you don't know what you have to do. It comes in the moment, but those 140 things you know कि ये तो नहीं करनी है.
Yeah.
So that really helped me.
ये इसीलिए मैं कहता हूँ कि मतलब दैट इज़ वाई फोकस ऑन एक्सपीरियंसेस बिकॉज योर एक्सपीरियंसेस टीच यू अ लॉट एंड एज यू राइटली मेंशन कि वो 14-15 प्रोजेक्ट में से 140 लर्निंग्स यू एनीवेज हैड एंड
Yeah.
दिस हैपेंस विद no matter what project you do, no matter what job you do, over the course of your career, you find learnings by doing stuff and then figuring out, even if I don't know what I'm supposed to do, at least I know what not to do. That 100% makes sense. When you were talking about, okay, these 140 things I did not want to do, firstly, congratulations that your first official documentary has won you a very prestigious award. Great. And amongst other awards as well. But when we are talking about short films and, you know, your official short film, Three's a Couple, loved it, really enjoyed it. Heard an interview of you talking about that it's taken from different experiences of your friends. Again, something which you've used, and which I also used, understanding from experiences. So, Three's a Couple, great short film, very, loved the climax. What was the inspiration behind it, and how did you ideate that whole film?
So see, the thing was, I was assisting for 6-7 years. Then we realized that now we should try to make our own thing. So the idea was to make something in a very limited budget and one location. So because you have multiple locations and limited people. So Three's a Couple, again, I had made it in college. I had kind of made it, but it was imperfect. There was a little some points here in detail. The whole screenplay was a little different, but the story was the same. So I picked that up and I thought that we'll try to make this. And we also wanted to attempt that whether we are able to engage an audience in the first 20-25 minutes or not, then only we can attempt a feature. So that was the basic idea, that make something जिसमें budget नहीं लगेगा. So then the story came by, and then I realized that this story has the potential for me to test myself, because if you see in every 5 minutes the zone changes, something
Yeah.
is happening. So I wanted to see that whether I'm able to do that or not. And so the experiences which was there, if you see the short film, so there were two things which were actually mixed. One was a friend of mine who had lost his wallet while should I talk about it?
Yeah, that's fine.
So I mean, I think he was engaging in escort services or whatever. So he his wallet was picked up. So that was a very fascinating thing for me. And it was not about the wallet being picked up. It was about why would that woman pick up his wallet?
Yeah.
That kind of a thing. And then the second was that when somebody was in a relationship and he had set up a proposal or something. So while that proposal was happening, he saw guilt in the eyes of his partner, and that made him think that there is something wrong. So I had written these two things. So when I just saw them in my notes, I was like, this can be one story.
Yeah.
And a lot of it I could see was happening in college. I mean, the relationships had changed. There were a lot of fast-paced things happening. So I thought probably this is something which would reflect what is happening right now in 20s or 23s, when right now people are there.
Yeah. No, that's very intriguing as to how those two things which had the most impact on the film also. But when we are talking about that particular film, story ideation, you talked about, you picked up experiences, and then you also mentioned that this is something which you created in college initially.
Right.
and then basically recreated after college, which was last year, I think, 2020,
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Um, what was the when we so you had already created it and then you were kind of perfecting it.
Right.
So what was few iterations which you basically got from your experience as an AD? So you created this after you let go of your AD stint, right? So you mentioned that you've been an assistant director for 6 years, 7 years, and you also have worked on big projects such as Super 30 as well as Ganpat, right? Although Ganpat did not do well at box office, but and that is something which we'll talk about.
Okay.
But Super 30 experience, working with Hrithik Roshan, working with Phantom Studios. How was that experience, and how did that eventually help you make your own short film or recreate the short film?
So college teaches you, if you're in a film school, it will teach you things which you can pick up as a director. Unfortunately, it does not teach you how to get into the industry, and it does not teach you about errand jobs which you'll have to do as an AD.
Yeah.
So Super 30 was like an introduction to me to the whole thing, and on what scale, and how many people are involved, how exactly things happen. So it kind of really opened up a lot to me. And I mean, I did not know what filmmaking was. I mean, what we were doing was just experimenting and stuff. So it like that thing really blew up, like वो होता है ना, like it opened like new perspectives inside me. It kind of opened my whole brain as to अच्छा ये होता है, like this is how you make a film. So I was involved when the prep had started, and so I was a director's assistant, and then our job is to stay till the release of the film. So I was lucky enough to be there for like 2-3 years, so I could see the whole journey of the film. So yeah, that was there. Specifically, if you can ask me, I'll be able to answer
Sure.
you better how.
Before I get into specific questions around the whole,
Okay.
AD experience, I think what is interesting, what you mentioned, that college does not teach you how to be a part of the industry. It might
Right.
teach you what you're supposed to do, but the errand jobs and whatever we hear from other people as well across the industry, that you have to do a lot of things before getting to be famous or somebody who's a very well established director or an actor and stuff like that. How did you secure that job as an AD, and how was that experience like?
So see, I have always I have looked for clarity wherever. So once I completed college, I realized that what happens is a lot of people think कि हम director बन गए, and they think कि वो French cinema ये सब देख के like we know films, and but that's not how it works. No,
Yeah.
there are people who are working in Bombay, or say like you said, like Phantom is there or Hrithik sir is working. So of course they have some experience. That's why they're there.
Yeah.
No, they're not like people who have just seen movies.
Yeah.
So I wanted clarity कि अच्छा ये हो गया है, यहाँ पे जो सीखना था I've learned. Now I have to go to Bombay, work on a film. That's when I'll understand what exactly filmmaking is. So then again, I made a diploma movie, and it was screened in a festival in Mumbai International Film Festival. Then they were looking for an intern over there for Super 30. So that's how I just got into it. It was not much money, but I was like, "ठीक है, मेरे को, I just want to get an entry."
Experience, yeah.
Now, luckily, what happened was that within 2 months of the project, they needed a DA, and then that vacancy was there. And sometimes it's like you are there just at the right time, at the right place,
Yeah.
in the right situation. So I kind of ended up getting that position.
Oh, very nice.
So that's what happened.
Oh, very nice, interesting. And how was, so you got that DA job 2 years, 2 months into the internship. How ecstatic was it for you?
Yeah, I mean, so I had no idea what exactly it's going to be about.
Yeah.
So when I looked at it in retrospect, I was very happy because when you're interning, that's also part of it, but you're not very much involved into creative meetings, and
Of course.
so those things are there. So for me, internship was also great because I was just there. But then being a DA really changed things because you're like a bridge between the director and other departments and the
Okay.
assistant directors.
Okay.
So it's like you take his vision and you communicate to people,
Okay.
and you make sure that he gets what he wants.
Got it.
So, and then you're a part of creative meetings, and then you can see, acha, he's written this. Now, what is he telling the art director? How is he briefing the music composer? How is he doing his readings with the actors? And then once he's on set, how is he now like finally shooting it? So I got to see all of those things.
And also be a part of it.
Also be a part of it. See, initially what happens is like you're making minutes, you're making notes for him. Slowly, once he also gets comfortable, he'll give you few responsibilities. So once shoot got over, he wanted to take a little break for before the edit starts. So then sometimes what happens is he'll be like, "Acha, this is how I shot it. So just line it up for me. Then I'll come and see." So you get these responsibilities to do, and then you learn and pick it up that way.
Oh, that's interesting. Who was the director? I forgot.
Vikas Bell.
Okay. How was it working with him?
Yeah, he was. It was a great experience actually. He had met Queen and Chiller
Yes,
Party before,
yes.
so and very chilled out, very nice mindset. Hardly, I think, he ever got aggressive. So that was a very nice thing about him, that he was very relaxed, easy to go person, and yeah. So I mean, it was
So basically a good team manager rather than...
yeah, and he'd
Yeah.
been a producer with UTV for a long time.
Okay.
So I think that skill set is something which he inherits from there. So that way it was a very good experience which I had.
Very nice. Any significant memories you share with him?
I mean,
Outside being his DA? Or
Outside-
whilst being his DA, of course.
I mean, I can now. That's that's a very. I mean, now when I look, I'm just remembering things where
Yeah.
I got scolded for,
Yeah.
but I'm not able to remember good memories. But I remember when I actually became a DA. On set, I was very new and I was very new with the job. So I remember that I did some fumble or something what had happened, and he kind of shouted on me on the set and said that whatever, like something happened. But when the film was editing, like when we were editing and the post was happening, till that time I'd picked up. So he was very happy at that time. So that whole journey of me also transforming with the film and him realizing that for me was
That is very that's the good part of it, right? You started off as an intern, then you moved up, and then of course you don't know what you're doing, so you will make mistakes and you'll learn from them. And I'm glad to see that those 2 years changed you, and by the end of it, he trusted you. You had built a rapport for yourself and were able to basically be a part of something bigger. You mentioned something earlier that an AD is you start as an AD and then you see the whole process up until the movie is released, and that's when you are basically released from your duties. Is that right? So it doesn't end at editing. It doesn't end at...
So for a DA,
For a DA.
director's assistant, it ends when you check the final copy in PVR before releasing the film.
Oh, okay.
So that's when. So you check the international copy, you check the domestic copy, which is about like a week before the film's release.
Okay.
Then you're done with the project.
Okay, that's interesting. So your experience with Super 30, which was followed by Ganpat, and going from a super hit film to a film which did not do well at the box office. What was that experience like, and what did it teach you?
So see, what happened was Super 30 we were doing with Phantom, then Phantom shut. Vikas sir was then, he opened his company called Goodco, which is still there. So he made Sunflower Goodbye, then Ganpat was happening. So for me it was again a new learning, because see, Phantom was a established firm when I was working there. Then for me to see that how exactly when you open a new company, you pitch projects, how do you get projects, and then they were writing for a long time. So it was a shift in environment also, which was nearer to what I would be doing in life. So I was grasping that. And for me, the two takeaways when Ganpat was in prep was that it was a VFX heavy film, so I would learn a little more about visual effects or how it's done. And secondly, we were shooting it abroad, portions of it. So I thought that I'll get to interact with foreign crew members, see how do they deal, and that kind of thing is also important for us. So these were, and it was so Super 30 was a drama, and this also had action. Our action director was actually Tim Mann. He'd done Undisputed. So he was called. So that was a great experience actually working with Tim. And Tiger Shroff actually, Tim also said that he's somebody who he thought that I don't know if he's a Boyka. So he said that Tiger is better than Boyka when it comes to performance in terms of when he shot with him. So seeing action, seeing the visual effects, and dealing with foreign crew was my main takeaways from the whole process.
When we were talking earlier, you mentioned that during that experience, you also understood how to mess up a movie, or some major learnings which you got. Oh, these are a few things which eventually can lead to a bad movie, even if it's good on paper. So what were those things, if you can talk about those?
See, I mean, I would just say I can't be specific. I hope you
Of
understand
course, of
that.
course, of
But
course.
it's just that uh, there were a lot of different perspectives on the film. They were not aligned, and eventually, when we see that, I mean, in execution also. So, I mean, Sir had a different mindset with the film, and he was all right. And then something with the production company we were working with Pooja at that time. So they had a very different takeaway to how to make films, and then so I mean that's what that when that whole thing happens is when
So it was basically a clash of creativity.
clash of creativity, and then sometimes going into a project not fully prepared. I mean so there were multiple reasons of I think what exactly happened, but I would not like
Fair.
to
That
if
is
you
fine.
understand why.
No, no, of course, of course, of course. So, you also mentioned that when Vikas Bell was moving to his own firm, and that when they were kind of evaluating different scripts, people were, sending it out. So I know a couple of writer friends,
Okay.
and this is something which we've talked about informally. But for anybody who wants or who's a writer, specifically college students, and they want to pitch something to studios, what is it that studios are actually looking for, and what is there any cheat sheet or a tips and tricks which one should definitely use to uh, get through the screening processes, or at least get to a point where they are approached or they get a call back? Things, there are other factors at play also, but as a writer, what are few things they should focus on if they want to get picked up by a studio?
See, honestly, I think the gap is not because of the story they write. It just has to be a great story. That's all. It's just that I feel there is a lot of gap when you email it to the, for example, if it's Excel, you email it to them. You don't know who's on the receiving end, who's reading. So it's just very important to be in the network of right people. Somebody who might be connected to them directly. So I feel that kind of connection is something what you should look at. That somebody who's directly connected and who can make sure that your script reaches. So I think what happens is in that whole system when you're sending it out, you don't know somebody in the acquisition team is reading. Sometimes
Yeah.
it reaches to the marketing people, and then they have like different kind of outtakes on why this should not be made. So I feel you should just get into the right network of people in terms of acha ye this can reach to this. For example, I'm writing a horror movie. I can reach Madoc, yeah, right? So, but instead of mailing them, I'll just check कि वहाँ पे EP कौन है, who's the executive producer, who's the
Exactly.
line producer, do I know
Yeah.
somebody who might be in the direction team? I'll probably hand it over to him and then go through him. So, I think you should look at the right network of people through whom you can reach these people. Yes.
This is true across all industries, even working for corporates, and even establishing this podcast, within that particular industry. It's very important to know the right people, network with the right people, and everybody talks about this, right? Networking is what takes you ahead. If you want to get your stuff done, you need to find the right people. So I 100% agree to that. So basically, students need to look forward or look out for people who are already well established and find the right mentors. Once you find the right mentors, you get connected with a certain set of people, and as you mentioned, surround yourself with the people you want to work with. And I think I 100% agree to that. um, Slightly moving on towards going back to your filmmaking process and how it has evolved. You mentioned short films, and there were few learnings you took from Super 30, from Gunpath, and eventually you know put it in Three's a Couple. When you were going through the whole Three's a Couple process, you had already made it, and now this time you were applying few learnings and making it better. What were some additions, or some key things which made it the film it is today?
Okay. See, Super 30 के time पे, like you said, one thing I really realized was that the the person. So characters are very important. You really need to go into that. When I was making Three's a Couple in college, it was about me trying to understand whether what am I imagining, am I able to make it or not. I was making it with non-professional actors. So then it became more about how do I make this character more interesting or somebody you can relate to, you know. So I was also, when I was pitching Three's a Couple as a writer, it was taking time. That's why he's a writer who's trying to pitch the same story. So I was trying to break the fourth wall also.
Yeah.
So it was more about you get deep characters you can invest in. I learnt that aspect from it. Then for Super 30, Ane Goswami, he's a very well established DP. He shot the film. So I learnt a lot on, you know, it's not about just getting beautiful shots, but how do you tell scale with the story? How do you do that? So those learnings also went into that. And see, for me, Super 30 was actually college. I mean, if you ask me that way.
Wow.
So I learnt, I never knew how important music is. What does music do? Because sir used to listen to a lot of music while writing, while shooting. So a lot of things actually I picked up from there. So, you know, it was like that was my film school, and then I kind of made this film. So I would say it was more about characterization, and then you know, once you work, and also like you said, I did not know what exactly the workflow was, the structure of people, how many people you're supposed to have, you know, what kind of a workflow it should be. Do you get an art director? Who else is required to make sure that you can get a proper film made? So that was very important for me.
I agree. And working at a film set with a huge budget and a production house backing it, versus you making it with limited budget, what were some changes you had to do, adaptations you had to do?
So the only thing was that, for example, over there, if a department has 8 people, we just had 2 or 1.
Got it.
So, but I made sure that you know, I learned कि अच्छा ठीक है, मेरे को एक art director भी चाहिए. I need a sound recordist. Actors is something I will not compromise on. You know, I can compromise on costumes. I can compromise on art. Location is something I will not compromise on because that's very important for the film. So these things I picked up, but I made sure that I take that exact structure with
Got it.
minimal people. But so I only had like two assistants on the set. That's all. So you know, like, so the structure was the same. We just reduced the number of people.
And what amount of pre-planning had to go in? How long the shoot is going to be? What's the
So
location?
we just had money to shoot it for 2 days.
Okay.
So we shot it in 2 days, and we prepped for like a month in terms of the look and the mood board and writing it completely. We did a couple of readings, but we just shot it in like, so I think at 48 hours we shot 36 hours and we finished the whole thing.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you were working with non-professional actors. Was that for the
That was for the
college?
college.
Oh, that was the
Yeah,
college
yeah.
thing, not for this
No,
one.
no, no.
This one you had, because the guy was actually looked like Ranbir Kapoor. And
Yeah. So no, he's done a lot of television.
Okay.
His younger brother Abhay was in Munja right now. He was the lead. So and he looked correct for the part. I don't
Yeah,
know.
he did.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
did.
And again, no, like you meet people. The person who was the producer for me, he only introduced me to him. And then again, like, because I had worked on Super 30, so I asked few people, do you know, your friends might be actors, you know, a lot of
Yeah.
them were doing TV. So I just kind of figured out कि, you know, मेरे character से सबसे ज़्यादा close कौन है, who can I take? So that's how I just picked up these 3 people.
And did you go through a whole casting process, or it was just that guy came naturally to you?
So-
Okay, this looks like the perfect.
Yeah, so like I got options, but वो इतना हो जाता है ना, you get to know कि ये तो नहीं हो सकता, और that came
हाँ,
कि
हाँ,
ये
हाँ,
हमारा
of course,
character नहीं
of
है.
course.
But when these people came, then I was very sure कि हाँ यही होगा.
And did you do a table read with them?
I did.
Okay. So because that gives you a lot of insights on.
Yeah, and
Can
also
they
what happens is when they also come, no, because once you've written a script, it's like you lose objectivity also.
Yeah.
So at times when they come, they're like, "अरे ये line ऐसे बोलना चाहिए." Arav should say. So for example, in the script, he was actually changing clothes after proposing. In the morning, he was like कि then he came and told me कि यार ये कपड़े क्यों बदलेगा? इसके साथ इतनी खराब चीज़ हुई है, ये कल सुबह तक ऐसे ही रहेगा. So these kind of things, you know, you pick up.
Yeah.
So they actually help a lot, you know, that way. So that was there. So yeah. And then you also get a sense of idea as to ये character तो मैंने ऐसे लिखा है, मैंने ऐसे imagine करा है. But अभी इसकी personality क्या है, you know? And then it's not about him fitting into my script. It's about my character fitting into his personality, because that's how it will come across more real, you know. So I would pick up कि अच्छा अभिषेक कैसे बात कर रहा है, how is he, you know, what is his nicks and acts. So I'll put RF into him, not the opposite way.
Oh, that makes sense. Yes. it's important to leverage the natural skills of your actor or whomsoever it is you're working with. No, I agree to that. Um, on since we are already on Three's a Couple, and we've talked about ideation and scripting, you took real life examples from your friends and other experiences people had. You We talked about budgeting. You got it financed, or was it
So there was a person who wanted to become a producer.
okay?
There's a company called Tamasha Entertainment. So they wanted to venture into this, and they also wanted to make a short film. So luckily we met at the right time. I wanted to direct, and they wanted to produce. So
Amazing.
so that could just kind of
And
happen.
you did mention, okay, 5 people in a department, I'll have to. But during the whole technical aspect, during the whole shoot, were there any significant pieces where you were like, कि हाँ तो जुगाड़ ही चल सकता है. I don't have this equipment, I don't have that, or I don't have that level of
Yeah,
budget.
like we did not have a trolley or a track. We only had sticks for our camera. So we did not have that, and lighting was also very limited. But that's what, no. So I picked up somebody who I worked with, Ganpat. He was the second, he used to operate the second camera. And consciously, what I did was that I picked people who were not head of departments but wanted to be head of
Wanted to be
departments.
into.
They came with that energy that, they just want an opportunity to do something. And more importantly, then having that right skill, because skill sab mein hoga thoda bahut. If you worked on films, then you know how to light it and whatever. But you have to come from the right intention.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. So I picked up people who I knew कि इंटेंशन इनका अच्छा है. बिकॉज कल को कोई बहुत अच्छा स्किल वाला आएगा एंड ही बी लाइक कि नहीं मैं तो कैमरा यहीं लगाऊंगा, मेरे को अपने पोर्टफोलियो के लिए बनाना है. देन दैट्स अ प्रॉब्लम फॉर मी. सो आई नीडेड पीपल हु एक्चुअली लाइक know that the story is the most important thing, and it's not about having power over somebody or something.
You wanted people who were flexible and had a good work ethic.
Most integral, like integral in the sense, integrity in terms of innocent people, nice people,
Got it,
and
got
then work integrity would follow and everything would follow.
Yeah, it's difficult to work with people who are out there to sabotage your project or whatever it is you're working on. So I 100% agree to that. हम जब we're talking about this movie and we talked about the whole piece. Transitioning from short films to documentary and then making a documentary. It was a beautiful documentary, first of all. Loved it. And I can see why it won you the best docudrama director. But I had a lot of questions on that movie, not in terms of the content, but how you shot it and how all of that transpired. Firstly, I think we should start with how did you come across the idea? And one of your interviews and one of your articles, you mentioned that the story came to you rather than you going to the story. So what was that journey like?
Okay. So also, like, so what happens is I'm somebody who's a little spiritual also. So I tend to happen by intuition, and then I try to put logic into it. A lot of people try to operate by logic, that way. So what happened was Three's a Couple happened. We released it. Everything was happened. Now I was writing a feature, but then this. So Rashi ma'am, who co-produced the documentary with me, she called me one day, and she told me to visit the center. It was just random, and she called me. I visited the place, and I was with a friend of mine. We went to the place, and she said, see, this is what we are doing. This is a basti, and we as an NGO operate over here. So why don't you make a small 2-3 minute music
And how
video?
did you get connected with her?
I got connected with her. I actually made a music video for this organization who deal with blind children. So I did a music video with them.
Oh.
And it was a little paradox because we shot with blind children, but they can't see the video themselves,
Yeah.
so that was there. But so she saw that somewhere.
Okay.
And then we got connected. And so she wanted to do something similar. Now, when I went to this place that day itself, and it was right beside Delhi Kent. So I had not seen a place like this. And I saw Praveen who's there, and his face was scratched and all of that was there. So she started telling me about him and stuff. And I was like, अरे ये तो दिल्ली में देखा ही नहीं कभी 26 साल से, I have not seen this kind. And I'm born and brought up here, so how is it possible? Then what happened was I was also going through a difficult phase in my life. Something was bothering me. वो वहाँ जाके ख़त्म हो गया. मतलब वहाँ पे ऐसा लगा कि बॉस मैं क्यों फिक्र ले रहा हूँ, मतलब यहाँ पे तो हमारी प्रॉब्लम इरेलेवेंट है, विच आई पुट इन द दिस थिंग ऑल्सो, डॉक्यूमेंट्री ऑल्सो. So that feeling which I felt over there was like on a very high magnitude, like it really took over me. And then I asked my friend कि तुझे भी ऐसा कुछ feel हो रहा है या मुझे ही हो रहा है? They were like कि नहीं, you know, something about this place is there. And then when we got back in the auto, we decided कि यार इस पे if we can you know be true to this feeling, what we are feeling right now, and somehow we can capture it and communicate it, then probably a lot of people can feel the same way, or you know,
Yeah.
this can spread. So that was the whole idea basically. And then I met Rashi ma'am again. I told her this is what I want to do. We can make a documentary, and that's how it started.
That overwhelming feeling basically got you to a point that I should definitely make a documentary about this. And it's also that I think in that moment I can 100% relate or understand that you must have realized the privilege we all of us have. I had no idea that Delhi Cant had that Kirby Place.
So Delhi Cant is separate. Kirby Place is separate.
Kirby Place is
Kirby
separate.
Place is
It's right
opposite,
behind it or something.
opposite City Walk.
Okay.
That's in Saket. Delhi Cant wala is separate.
What was that called? I'm forgetting. So there were three
Sindhi
bastis you
Basti.
covered.
One Sindhi Basti was in Delhi Cant. Kirby Place was in Saket. And Ghaziabad Arthala was in Ghaziabad.
Okay. And all three places Rashi introduced you to.
Yes.
Like her NGO works with them.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll have to ask Rashi as to how she got to know about those places. But I think she mentioned in the documentary that she was going and somebody was begging, and then she asked her, and then she got to know, oh, they live here. So also got to know that it's undocumented. A lot of people there, they're basically non-existent in our system.
Right.
But there are actual lives who are living there. Before I get into the details of the film, I have a couple of questions around it, and a few of them are going to be generic, a few of them are going to be technical.
Okay.
So we talked about the ideation. The inception of the idea was basically when you visited the Basti in the first place in an idea of making a music video for them, but it turned out that you wanted to make a documentary. So what were the first few things you touched at, and how was your research or the pre-planning for the documentary? Because also it was your first time making a documentary. So how was that experience like?
So first what I did, I went home. I watched a mockumentary called What We Do in the Shadows.
Okay.
So I had not watched documentaries at all in my life.
Yeah.
Then I watched, if you remember, Elephant Whispers had come that
Yes.
time. And there was one more with the eagles. It's called All We Breathe, All That Breathes. So these two are there. So I watched these films and like ठीक है मतलब
ऐसे बनती है.
ऐसे बनती है ऐसे कर सकते हैं मतलब doable है like you know. And documentaries का again that thing was, so this actually costed me less than Three's a Couple, you know, this whole
Of
thing.
course. Yeah.
So I knew that limited budget में हो जाएगा, you need less people, nothing is so वो था. Then I started writing a layout. If you see the film, there is one portion where it starts with a montage of privileged versus unprivileged and that kind of thing. And I was like कि अच्छा यहाँ पे लक्ष्यम का ये कोई बोलेगा यहाँ पे होगा. So also the thing was we were making it for Laksham, but I did not want it to come across as a corporate film for them. I wanted them to like just fit into the story.
Correct.
So I wanted to touch upon कि ये 4 बच्चों की कहानी है, 3 बच्चों की कहानी है, and you know we'll start with there. So basic layout was written. Then I shared it with Rashi ma'am कि you know this is how we'll go, and the bonfire was written in the end. So little things were written कि flow में ऐसा होगा, and then rest of course documentaries are like you know in the moment.
moment
होता है.
that when you're interviewing them and then you get to know, oh, this is I'm putting this in for sure.
Right.
Similarly, when I'm talking to you, I'm thinking, oh, this is actually a good excerpt for a post or something. So I think I understand that aspect. So you started creating a structure. You started going out there. And how many days did you shoot it for?
4 days.
4 days. So 4 days you spent a lot of time with these kids and the people there.
You mean in the shooting time?
Yeah, shoot time was. Shoot time was 4 days.
Shoot time was 4 days. We only interviewed these kids for like 1 hour each.
Oh, okay.
That's all. The rest of the shoot was. So I mean, yeah, the interviews took 1 day, but then you know if you see there are a lot of other shots, B-rolls with them. So all that had to be done, and that whole montage. You know, we had to go to the hotel, shoot with the Basti thing, then the bonfire sequence. So that way. But interviews, so we did not actually, I ended up spending very less time with the children. So what happened was, once the layout was made, then we identified 3-4 children. And that also happened when we visited. So Praveen was somebody I wanted to know. उसको देख कैसे होता है ना, like you sometimes meet people and you want to know about, there is some element of mystery in them. That happened with him. Deepak was somebody who drew me again. Then Sakshi was somebody who drew me again. Now I met them once. I did not want them to meet me again. That was conscious. I went to Bombay. I sent my 2 assistants. I said, तुम बस्ती जाओ, 15 बच्चों से मिलो, मुझे बताओ तुम्हें सबसे इंटरेस्टिंग कौन से लगते हैं. उनको भी वही 3 लगे. तब मुझे कंफर्म हो गया कि मेरे मेन बच्चे विल बी दीज 3 ओनली. एंड देन आई टोल्ड देम कि जाके बस थोड़ा सा बैकग्राउंड ले लो, लाइक व्हाट, जैसे कौन क्या करता है, कौन क्या करता है, एंड लेट्स लीव इट देयर. So we wanted to do minimal interaction, and I just told them कि वहाँ जाओ, just sit with them, make them comfortable, make them at ease. Don't try to like tell much or ask much. Don't do all of that. So then that was the whole process, because then I wrote my questions and I wanted it to be like very natural in the moment. वरना वो पता चल जाता है, वरना वो preparedness आ जाती है, and I did not want, I wanted to surprise and shock them. So in fact even Lakshman was like यार questions share करो, ये सब करो. I said no, nothing doing, no questions will be shared. वो जो होगा वो on the spot होगा. So that's how we went.
Because it's a documentary.
It's a documentary, and then sometimes I feel like if you don't plan things and in the moment if you like surrender to the truth, some, I don't know, but when they say magic moments or whatever, for me at least, that's when it happens. It can't happen when, अभी अगर प्रवीण को पता है कि मैं वो सब बात करने वाला हूँ, then he'll come with a prepared answer. So that magic will not happen.
Natural नहीं लगता. नहीं, agreed. How was the interviewing experience like? क्योंकि अब आप पूरी बस्ती के सामने खड़े हुए और आप questions पूछ रहे हो, तो कोई टेक्निक्स थी या कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग एक्सपीरियंसेस थे कि ओ जवाब नहीं आ रहा या गलत पूछ लिया, कुछ ऐसा लगा था?
तो एक मतलब मैंने एक फ्लो बनाया हुआ था कि ये तो पूछना है. It was more about just having a very authentic conversation with them. So we recorded with these main kids, we recorded for an hour. And we used to start by start asking them very casual, comfortable questions. And then try to ask them about their ambitions. तो तब तक थोड़ा comfort, within 20-25 minutes मुझे पता होता था कि ये comfortable तो हो गया. वो जैसे ही half an hour में मुझे उसकी शक्ल पे दिखता था comfortable हो गया, तब मैं उसको थ्रो कर देता था. तो फिर वो वहाँ पे then, but by that time he was so comfortable that he would end up answering, that kind of a thing. And actually what happened was, Praveen's whole story I did not know till the shoot. Now that's also one thing. Sakshi's story I did not know at all. So these came on the spot. मतलब ये मैं लिख के भी नहीं गया था. It was like that. So I knew कि ऐसा कुछ होता है इसके साथ. But that whole story when he told that I was caught and this happened, so we did not know that he actually surrendered. Like I think he also went into that state and he spoke about it.
Short films are scripted, documentaries are organic, and you already answered this question of how much it was. I was about to ask how much of it is scripted versus how much was it organic, and now that you're touching base on their story, once I was preparing for our conversation, one of the first few questions I had was, how do you ensure consent during a documentary?
What was spoken just once the interview got over, we had people from the NGO with us, and we said, because the kids came through us through the NGO.
Through the NGO.
So we used to ask them that, is it okay, can we use this? So everything was verified at that moment only, because we did not want कि हमने edit पे कल को कुछ डाल दिया and then somebody objects. So we had somebody present from their organization, so that even if I go here and there and ask something which is all right, so you can consent, tell me that whether it's usable or not. So that's a safety net we followed.
Okay.
That's all.
And it was the NGO's responsibility to ensure that.
Yes. And of course, I also know responsibly few things I'm not going to ask myself also. But whatever has been asked and whether it's usable or not, that's something which the NGO will tell us.
Got it. So and since we were talking about Praveen's coming out story, so you did not know about it?
I knew bits of it, but I did not know the whole thing of it. So I did not know how much is he going to talk. Luckily for us, he spoke a lot about it. And then he really spoke more. So yeah.
No, I'm sure he spoke a lot about it, and you've just taken excerpts from his answer. And that's what was kind of bugging me is...
No. He spoke that much only.
He spoke that much only. And he was comfortable with it. Was it shared with the kids as to what is it that we're doing, or what is it that we have put in the film? Have they seen the film?
No, not yet, not yet.
Not
They're
yet.
supposed to see. We are supposed to organize a screening for them, but we will do it soon.
By the time this
Yeah.
comes out, they must have seen it.
Yeah.
Of course. But so Praveen's coming out story, which came as a shocker, Sakshi's experience with her father basically selling her off every now and then. All of this, it's dreadful, but it's the harsh reality. And my only concern there was that for a documentary which covers such sensitive issues, how do we ensure that consent is followed, and how do we ensure that organic authenticity is followed? So I think you've almost answered it. It was in night of the NGO. You did it with them, and anything else you would want to add there?
Yeah, I mean, see, that was there, and also one thing which really clicked to me was that these stories are very universal. You know, वो हैं बस्ती के बच्चे, but actually, if you see, it's something which even you would relate to, or anybody in the metropolitan would relate to, because this whole LGBTQ movement is also happening. And again, he's not somebody who's talking about his sexuality. He's just saying I have a feminine side. That's also there. So I thought कि यार ये तो है बस्तियों की कहानी, but this is what will make it universally applicable. कि ये तो यहाँ पे भी, you know, the story is same. It's not that they are living different lives. Their problems are actually very modern now, if you see.
Yes.
So that was something which I picked up, and I thought that this would help me in making these stories reach to a wider people, and a lot of people might connect to it. Because we sometimes feel कि वो you know, same kind of problems would be happening, but I thought that personal stories are like very, very modern and relevant, like that way.
We've got बुरा ना देखो, बुरा ना सुनो, बुरा ना बोलो. A concept which you also used, and the fourth one, which was अगर गांधी जी का चौथा बंदर होता तो वो क्या करता? तो what is your answer on it?
It is in my film, actually. I'm writing something, so so I left the question in the documentary.
Yes.
So the answer is in my film, which I'm writing. So I've addressed it over there.
Amazing.
So yeah, but actually the answer is there. If you see Praveen, in the end, he's looking at the camera. So it's like nazar rakhta. That's the answer. You get it. So I didn't say it out, but I put it out visually. So that's what we thought.
Fucking missed it.
Okay, yeah, but it was supposed to be like that. It was just supposed to be very silent.
It's a small.
It's like if somebody
Easter
picks
egg.
it up, then great. But it's like Easter egg.
It's an Easter egg, and so you mentioned you're going to be covering it in detail in the next film, which I'm excited for.
Thank you.
So we're getting a Bhasin verse out of this.
Not verse, but I mean it's just an extension of the idea of
it.
the fourth funky.
You were touching on ethical considerations on footage, like you know, you not necessarily true that you would showcase everything, and you would do that. Sensitive topics, again, my ideology was majorly Praveen's and Sakshi's, and you mentioned for Praveen you did not, but were there additional footage which you had to exclude?
No, so I'll tell you what happened was we always knew one thing when we were shooting it, that we don't want to make it like a documentary. If you see, it has elements of fiction in it.
Yes.
Benam is a fictitious character.
Yes.
So my whole idea was कि एक audience है जो documentaries देखती है. They watch a lot of documentaries. Now there is an audience like my parents also. They don't watch documentaries. They'll sleep if I put it on. So I wanted it to appeal to people who don't watch documentaries also.
Got it.
That was the whole plan. So once we got all the footage, then we realized कि इसमें we always knew we'll need a voiceover. And a lot of people were like, get a heavy voice man and do the voiceover. And I was like, that's a cliche. Like, we should try to write a character who fits into the story. That's how that Benam happened. And if you see that there's only one shot of him, so we only have that shot. There was one kid who came and sat like that. We just shot.
It was natural.
10 seconds of that. I have not even seen his face till date. We don't know him, like we don't even know what face he has. तो हमको जब वो shot देखा हमने कहा ये like this has to be a character. And then we realized कि let's make him a fourth friend. Let's put him in the basti. This will help us concise the length of the documentary, because I was very sure I don't want to go with it for more than an hour, because when you're dealing with serious subjects, people can't watch after a long time, right? And you can't just keep. So I wanted it to be crisp and impactful. Keep it short but keep it impactful. So that gave me a tool of like jumping in from places to places, So then we made a whole स्क्रिप्ट एक्चुअली कि पहले आप एक पुअर एंड रिच का मोन्टाज दिखाओ, लाइक यू नो कि प्रिविलेज क्या है आपके पास और वहाँ पे देखो क्या हो रहा है. देन यू इंट्रोड्यूस दीज 4 किड्स एंड इफ यू सी उसमें हो जाता है कि आज मैं अपने 4 दोस्तों की कहानी बता रहे हैं एंड बाय देयर. सो मैंने आपको पहले ही 5 मिनट में बता दिया कि ये पूरी फिल्म किस चीज़ के बारे
किस
में.
बारे में, हाँ.
देन आई इंट्रोड्यूस द बस्तीज विद द किड्स एंड देन द स्टोरी फॉलोज एंड देन लक्ष्यम कम्स इन कि यू नो वो बोलता है कि मुझे लगा किसी स्कूल के आने से घंटा फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. दैट्स व्हेन लक्ष्यम कम्स इन. सो आई put fiction in it so that you know I can kind of make it more fictional and more relatable to an audience which does not watch documentaries.
Yes, and that's why I loved the movie.
Okay.
I don't watch documentaries also, and when I watched it, I knew that it was different. It
Okay.
was not a standard documentary. I've seen it before, but I just don't follow it anymore.
Right.
But I loved the film. I loved the shots you've taken. W- since you did not make documentaries before, I'm sure you had an idea of what kind of a visual style you want to follow,
Right.
right? How did that change during the shoot or after the shoot?
So I think one thing which you said, no, not having the experience of documentaries is something which makes it different.
Yeah.
Because I did not know the rules. That's why it probably helped helped me and worked to our advantage. Second, we were very sure कि जो interview portions हैं वो docu रखेंगे. But जो non-interview है, that we'll shoot like a film. And we'll color like a film because that's when we mix that documentary and docudrama wala thing. So that we were very sure about. So this is how we came up with the whole visual style and we were shooting with DSLRs because we could not get cameras there. और वो एक कैमरा को फिर मूव करने में 15 मिनट्स लगते. So we were like on 2 DSLRs and yeah, that's how we did. But we had planned a look. So we had planned a certain look कि the B-roll should look film and the interview portion is where we go a little docu.
Yeah.
But we wanted it to have a film look. Is basically that's what.
I enjoyed the interviews. The one scene which I loved was Johnny yes papa, eating
Okay.
sugar no papa, telling lies no papa, open your mouth. And as soon as she says ha ha ha, it goes into an echo fade followed by Sakshi laughing.
Yeah.
That touched me. That was a beautiful shot. I really liked it. Did that come naturally or वो edit के time पे हुआ था?
Edit के time पे.
Edit के time पे हुआ था
Because
कि वो
documentary
this
में
is-
it's
हाँ.
like you're writing on the
Yeah.
edit table. So that happened in the edit. But we were sure that वो because वो लड़की ने that time shoot के time पे realize हो गया था कि इससे poems बुलवाते हैं. ये साक्षी की story में help करेगा. And people will not expect कि exactly you know because वो first time आता है it comes for a funny anecdote.
Yeah.
The second time you'll think कि फिर कुछ funny होने वाला है but then you like really break into it.
Yeah.
So yes.
It was easy. It was a very smooth transition to something which is very serious for the viewers as well as for Sakshi's life. I really liked that shot where you had added how Sakshi used to look before versus when she started going to school, her being honest about not going to school in the middle, striking off her name, Rashi talking about it. You know, again, I think it was very beautifully shot, and you mentioned the framing, the lighting, the movements, all of that was just on spot. And as and when you were doing it, you covered कि when you were doing the whole movie wala B-roll wala shot, it was more structured and scripted. But when you move towards the interviews, it was very organic.
Right. And we did the interviews before so that we can plan our B-rolls.
Got it.
So that's what day one pe we did all interviews, then we went through it so that we can plan our B-rolls accordingly.
And you also mentioned कि for authenticity, you had already created a structure of how you want to go forward with it, and as in when the guest becomes comfortable, you can then ask
Right.
tougher questions.
Is that something you're going to do?
No. I hope I've already done it. I hope you're comfortable.
Yeah, no.
But इसमें एक जो था मेरे को और जो क्वेश्चन आ रहा था when you were there was this shot where everybody was around and that auntie was talking and that uncle was talking कि 400 रुपए का गांजा आता है, 100 रुपए का पौवा आता है, तो कहाँ से हम 100 रुपए कमाते हैं तो हम कहाँ से लाएंगे 300 रुपए, दारू पियेंगे ना. वो बहुत फनी था. एंड देन वो लेडी कहती है कि हमारे बच्चे पढ़ते नहीं हैं और हमारे पास पैसे नहीं है पढ़ाने के और ये सारा कुछ है तो क्या ही बनेगा, वो दारूबाजी बनेगा ना. तो वो पीछे से बच्चा कहता है गुंडा बनूंगा. तो वो भी naturally बस interview लेते लेते आया
तो
होगा.
वो एक्चुअली वो भी प्लान नहीं था.
हाँ.
वी हैड ओनली प्लान वो बच्चों के इंटरव्यूज एंड. तो वहाँ जाके हमें रियलाइज हुआ कि यार ये लोगों से वी शुड टॉक बिकॉज दैट विल ब्रिंग ऑथेंटिसिटी टू द वर्ल्ड. नाउ दोज पीपल आर वेरी फ्रस्ट्रेटेड इन दैट पर्टिकुलर
Yeah.
बस्ती. तो हमने जैसे ही कैमरा ऑन करा वो लोग स्टार्ट हो गए.
They were like, ये तो रिपोर्टर आए हैं, ये तो
हाँ एंड नो
न्यूज़
नो
पे
दे
जाएगा.
न्यू वे ऑफ मेकिंग अ फिल्म. बट वहाँ पे इतने लोग जा चुके हैं ना फोटोग्राफी और फिल्म्स बनाने कि दे वर लाइक कि यार ये फिर आ गए. सो यू नो वी वर वेरी हैप्पी कि चलो ठीक है आप आओ. एंड वी वर एक्चुअली वेरी मूव्ड बाय इट. बट दे वर वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग कैरेक्टर्स इफ यू सी दैट वे.
Yeah.
वेरी फनी ऑल्सो. सो फॉर अस एक्चुअली इट एडेड a lot because then you वो बच्चे and that is all right, that's the NGO, but that's what brings you like अच्छा this is what Kirby place is like and the people of place. So that was again spontaneously like we were actually exiting the location and we had just had a camera in hand and these people just came and surrounded us. So
Yeah, that was very interesting. I'm sure it must have been fun shooting that. I think एक और चीज़ and you can let me know afterwards if you want to edit this out.
no.
जो प्रधान वाली स्टोरी थी, he was talking about I don't know, I don't remember which basti, which
Sindhi basti.
Sindhi basti. I think it was Pradhan who was talking about E2 building से पानी आता है. That is true, but that is just sad. Like it messed up with my head as to why is that happening and why is nobody doing anything about it. And I really hope that they get some form of facilities after the launch of this film. Because when they mentioned that there's a building and the sewage water comes, they've directed the pipe towards this basti and people have died and drowned, it hit me like a truck as to how can we be so ignorant to a fact that people are dying in our shit. They're dying in our sewage line. So is that something which you think could be a potential issue?
Yeah, I think like if you see, definitely it should be, and that's why I highlighted that E2 wala part. I could not shoot that building, so I kind of
But if once the movie launches, do you think there's some form of legality to that builder or that building coming up to you? Because you've not shown, but you've mentioned E2. I don't know where
see,
it is.
no, I mean you can put it out. It's okay, but see, that's what I'm saying. No, whatever it is, whether it's E2 or I'm sure in other bastis there'll be other, but it should be called out, right? Because
Yes,
people
I
are
agree.
dying. So that's all right. But I'm sure even if they come to me, that's all right. But at that time, I really felt for it, so I put it without thinking of the consequences. And now
No,
that
it's-
we have mentioned it, it's the first time it's striking me that somebody can come like that. But it should stop. Is you know.
But it's a documentary. And it's a docudrama. I think when you were talking about it, it's a docudrama. So
Right.
does drama aspect allows you to get out of some legal
No, I
battles?
mean, see, again, it's it's between them and them, right? We have just showed the whole thing.
Yes.
And even if there is a legal aspect to it, we look into it because I don't think we are doing anything wrong. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we're calling out for the right reasons. So I hope that
Plus,
it
you did
settles
not
down.
shoot the building. It is something what the Basti people confirmed, which
Yeah,
is.
and I
think
feel
should be
even
natural.
whatever happens, it should be called out, and hopefully it does settle down. Like you know, that's
Yep.
there.
No, I
The
agree.
worst, actually, you know, when you say the worst thing was when I actually that's when I included that whole dog angle in the whole thing. When I actually we had shortlisted two kids to interview. And after 2-3 months, when we came back and we realized कि वो सुबह they'd gone to shit and the dogs ate them.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that was a different issue. So, you know, that really like, कि dogs ate them. And then we have this whole thing that, you know, dogs are nice, dogs are nice.
yeah.
Dogs are actually nice. I'm
Yeah.
not saying they're not nice. But फिर जहाँ वहाँ पे समझ में आया कि यार यहाँ पे तो dogs भी भूखे हैं. मतलब you get it? Like dogs को ही इतना वो भूखा रखा हुआ है कि अब उसके
Of course,
सामने
yeah.
जो भी आएगा वो खाएगा.
आएगा.
तो मैंने कहा ये भी एक something is, you know, that
हाँ.
we should tap into and we should include this whole dog angle from the beginning to the end.
So you shortlisted two kids, and by the
Yeah.
time you came back, they were eaten by dogs.
Yeah.
Damn.
So that
This
was
is-
there.
That is sad. That is sad. No, I could see. और वो कूड़े के पहाड़. That is a problem which I face every day when I'm driving to work. And I just hate that piece that we've got landfills size of mountains. And I understand being a, engineering, being an energy graduate, I understand that it's a very expensive setup, difficult to manage wastes. But when Deepak was talking about only if we could just segregate our waste, it would not only avoid the landfills to a certain extent, we would also be in a position where people, rag pickers like Deepak and other people like that, are not going through wounds and cuts and injuries all day long because they're not wearing shoes and everything. It just gave me a different perspective. I acknowledged my privilege, but I think watching your film and docudrama was a very good experience. Yeah, so I really appreciate you making that film. There's no question here. It was just me ranting about how much I like the film.
That's very kind of you to say that.
No, I think it's interesting to call out my reaction to it because I was in the hospital when I was watching it, and that's the reason why I watched it again last night. I'm quickly going to open our chat, and
Okay.
I'm gonna tell the world as to how I felt about it. So this was Tuesday. 11 Tuesday was what, 11, 12, 13th August. This was 2
2 a.m.
2 a.m. 2:07 a.m. in the morning. I had just finished the film, and this was after 2-3 minutes of absorbing it, like 4-5 minutes easy, just thinking about it, what I've seen. I wrote, "You genius, bro. The range of emotions I just had. What a cinematic masterpiece. Thank you so much for making this film. Damn, I need to process what I'm feeling." And this was like after 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I need to process what I'm feeling. After 2 minutes, again, you have no idea what you've done. This will change lives for better for anybody who watches this and for all the people on camera. What a beautiful edit. So proud of you. Sorry for the spam. Couldn't resist. This was my honest reaction to it, which I hope you realize that it actually touched my heart watching that film. So I just want to thank you for it.
No,
and
thank
thank
you,
you so
man.
much for making it. We've touched aspects of Pata Laapata, and I'm looking forward to hearing audiences talk about it. Once you give me a go ahead, I'm just gonna go full on, make my family watch it and everybody else across. We've touched base on how post production looked. Half of the story was made at the time of edit. Another aspect, I think, last one on Pata Laapata before we move to the next segment, but another thing which made it a beautiful film was music. What was your inspiration? Where did you find those vocals from? Who mixed it for you?
Okay. So there's this guy called Parth Saini actually, and we have been working together since a long time. And her mixer is Sheetal, and we were lucky enough to actually get Avinash Sunamne to design the sound. He's actually a national award sound designer. He's done work with Nagraj sir. He did Jhund and this film Sairat before.
Okay.
So he kind of, when he saw the film, he joined. So my references were to, so again, like you said, it's a docudrama. Documentaries usually don't have music. So I was very sure that this has to be. So for the starting bit, पीकू का एक सितार वर्जन एक थीम है, तो वो मेरा था कि दैट वाज अ रेफरेंस फॉर मी. आई वाज वेरी श्योर कि मैं जहाँ जहाँ रियलिटी एक्सप्लोर कर रहा हूँ, वेयर वी आर टचिंग रियल, आई वांटेड ट्रेडिशनल म्यूजिक. Where we are going through Benam's perspective, I wanted a little fictional music. For that, my reference was Stranger Things. Those synth pads, and when that whole thing happens, when Benam is talking, basically, it's that. For vocals, it was my sister who actually gave her vocal. She's a singer, so we got her to do that. But the reference was, like I said, I think it was Piku, and then that's what we placed on the edit. And Stranger Things, it's few themes we had picked up.
So it was a mix of
Yeah.
Piku, Stranger Things, and your sister's vocals.
So I mean, vocals we recorded. We were actually, there is this song called "Ye Duniya" which came out in this film called "Chup." "Ye Duniya agar mil bhi jaye to kya hai." It was an old song, Guru Dutt song, but they had made a new rendition for it. So we had placed that. So these three things were there. वोकल्स फिर क्या हुआ कि जब हम एक वर्ड ढूंढ रहे थे, वी वांटेड अ वर्ड कि ऐसे कुछ दुनिया या कुछ एक वर्ड आए विच वी आर कॉलिंग आउट. देन वी रियलाइज कि वर्ड से ज़्यादा पावरफुल है वोकल्स. यू डोंट टर्म इट, you don't give a term, let people imagine it, for them. So that's when, so these three references were the main references, and we actually took like 3-4 months to do it, the music. So I told him कि देख बॉस ये रेफरेंस एडिट पे अच्छा लग रहा है, अभी जब तू मुझे इससे कुछ अच्छा देगा तभी मैं फिल्म आगे बढ़ाऊंगा, आई विल नॉट मैं बढ़ाऊंगा ही नहीं. So yeah, that's what happened.
Very nice. And I तो loved it. I loved the vocals. I loved the music placement and the sound mixing also. I tried to research. I knew it was familiar. Now that you've said it, now it makes sense where the sitar came from, where the sounds came from.
And this is something I do while my writing.
Okay.
So this was a part of my process when I was writing. I was writing with the sequence, then I had this pico music in mind. तो वो तब से ही चल के आ रहा था. So when I was writing Benam, I used to listen to Stranger Things, you know, that kind of a thing. Just to, I think it just makes you more connected to the character.
Yes, yes. I've had experiences where I am writing myself and it's associated to a song, or if I'm driving and listening to a song, it just hits me, oh, I should write about this. So that naturally comes, and you touched base on this slightly earlier as well, as to how important sound and music is. Something which you saw Vikas Bell do, also something which I'm sure a lot of other directors, prominent directors, do as well. I think Pata Laapata, we've covered almost everything, all the questions I had. The only aspect of Pata Laapata we now need to discuss is how soon are we launching it, and what plans of release you have. Are you looking at OTT? Are you looking at independent, YouTube? What is it that you want to do with this film?
So right now we are screening it for multiple organizations, universities. The idea is also that we should just personally go and show it to students, because I've seen a lot of reactions.
Yes.
It has changed the way they talk or look at people once they're at the traffic signal. So we're trying to do that personally as well. The idea is to get it on an OTT platform. We are already in the process, but we want to just make sure that it reaches to a wide audience. That's only is something which is in our mind. So we are midway through it. Hopefully it should happen by the end of this year or maybe sometime next year. But it takes some time, so hopefully it should happen soon.
I just realized that there's another aspect of Pata Laapata which I want to touch base on. So once you made this film, I'm sure you must have had a confidence that, okay, I've made something well now. This is definitely going to ace.
No, I did not.
No, you did not?
So I edited it also myself with a co-editor.
Yeah.
So I had no idea. I mean, because if you're editing also, if you're not editing, then you have that objective sense in mind. Once it was over, I was like, पता नहीं क्या बना है, because I was actually just saying कि वो music ठीक से आ रहा है. You get into that thing कि वो sound ठीक से आ गई है, वो आ गई है. तो मेरे लिए फिर वो technical details हो रही थी कि अच्छा मैंने जो edit करी थी अभी मैं color के साथ देख पा रहा हूँ. I can see it sound, I can see music. So मेरे लिए होता कि वो सब सही से आ गया है नहीं. वो नहीं था कि अच्छी बनी है नहीं, बट या आई मीन दैट वाज आई हैड लॉस्ट माय ऑब्जेक्टिविटी व्हाइल एडिटिंग इट ओनली.
गॉट इट. सो edit में you lost your objectivity around it. What prompted you to submit it to film festivals?
Oh, that no, I mean that we knew that we knew that this is like we can submit it to festivals. That's the only way to go forward. And Three is a Couple was also submitted to festivals. However, it did not go to many places. So I knew that उस time ये हुआ था. So when we were making Three is a Couple, a lot of people told me कि यार ये तो arts मतलब you see the subject, no, it's a fun film. Yeah. So a lot of people, so that's when it came to me कि यार ये film में थोड़ी वो substance है. We have touched on social topics and everybody, because festival में I don't know why, but they see this as a criteria. So Three is a Couple was submitted, it did not get selected because it was not having कि आपके फिल्म में कुछ social वो नहीं है. And I was like, but हमेशा फिल्म में you don't have to be social, you can just have fun. So we knew कि we have a good film for a festival, and yeah, I mean that's the only way to go forward, right? So that was also for us to check where do we stand, no? Because if we've made something, अगर कल को वो select होती है, जीतती है, so at least we know कि we're on the right path. और अगर नहीं हो रही है, then we have to look inwards. So that was a test for us in that way.
And what was your reaction when you got to know that it has been not only selected but also won you an award at Cannes?
Yeah, honestly, see, I respect it, but I am very not very attached to material, these things. I do respect whatever it's getting. It's great for the film. I hope it does well for the film when it releases to reach a lot of people. But for me, all of these things really...
But it's also a good validation of all the hard work you've put in.
I feel for me it is a good validation कि this is the right line for me, or I'm headed in the right direction,
Got it.
and tomorrow I can write something bigger. So I get my validation about that for that, but not about anything else. I mean, for me, because by the time Pata Laapata got over, or when it releases, I'm already onto something
Bigger
next.
and yeah.
Not bigger, but so like I'm not there. So I'm somewhere else. So for me now it's like यार अभी जो बना रहा हूँ उसको अच्छे से लिखूँ.
Got
So
it.
I always tend कि जब तक वो release हो रहा है, you move on, to the
That is
next thing,
true.
so that you stay unaffected, good or bad. So
Hmm.
because like you said, Super 30 and Ganpat happened, right?
Yeah.
So I have realized that the process is the most important, and you just focus yourself in telling the story. If good happens, then it's like कि किस्मत अच्छी थी
Hmm.
और बच गए, और अगर बुरा हुआ तो मतलब work hard.
नहीं, आई थिंक सबको ये समझना ज़रूरी है कि मतलब मैं थोड़ा सा मैं एग्री कर रहा हूँ, पर मेरे को ये भी लगता है कि यू शुड नॉट बी मतलब आई नो यू बीइंग मॉडेस्ट ऑल्सो. आई एम श्योर यू मस्ट हैव बीन वेरी हैप्पी जब पता चला होगा.
I wish.
नहीं, सीरियसली.
मैं वही मेरे I
हाँ.
wanted to be, but पता नहीं मैं numb था यार. I was numb,
No.
but I don't know, कुछ तो
अच्छा, ये
problem है.
प्रोसेस क्या है? मतलब व्हाट इज द प्रोसेस ऑफ हाउ डज इट हैपन? लाइक were you invited to the festival or you just got to know?
I was invited to the festival. I could not go because we had spent all our budget in submitting everything. So it
Okay.
was like कि अभी मिलेगा, and we were not expecting, to be
हाँ.
honest. तो जब मिल गया तो हम खुश हो गए यहाँ पे कि चलो यार मिल गया, अच्छा है, that kind
वो
of
आया
thing.
मन में कि यार चली जाते यार.
नहीं मतलब yeah, in retrospect yes, but it's okay. I mean,
It's okay.
I don't regret not going.
Yeah. Because not everybody can then say, honestly speaking, this is, although I understand your perspective on it being a materialistic award, but it is definitely a prestigious award. It will help the film altogether, and it also establishes your credibility that you are a Cannes award winning director, and that should help you in all the other projects, even if you move on to the next one, which of course you will, and you have by the time it gets released. But no, I think it's I'm glad that it's getting the recognition, and I hope it gets the recognition once it's out there also.
Thank you.
That was all from on Pata Laapata. I think the most important segment for me whenever I'm talking to somebody is understanding what are some key significant advices from you to other people. Now, I understand that you were not willing to do this before because you still feel that you're at a very nascent stage of my career, but of your career, sorry, you're at a very nascent stage of your career, which is completely fine. It doesn't matter because even if you're 5-6 years down into a career, you've still learnt a lot. You were a completely different person and a professional when you were working at Super 30 as an intern, then as an AD, and by the end of that journey, and then moving on to Ganpat, and then your short film and your documentary. So you have had experience. You've talked about some key things earlier. You got to know how a movie set should be structured or a team should be structured, and how you implemented it. What is your advice to young filmmakers? And you have touched this slightly pehle, but I would want you to elaborate. What is your advice to young filmmakers who are venturing it out in 2024, both for short films and documentary? And what would be your advice to them as to what should be the first step for them going forward?
See what happens. First step should be find your own voice. Find what do you want to say, because we get influenced by a lot of directors. हमको लगता है कि हम इसकी तरह बनाएंगे, उसकी तरह बनाएंगे, but try to understand that people who we are actually influenced by, they have their own voices. They found their own voices. That is why they are true to their voices. That is why they stand out. So first thing is just identify what stories you want to tell, what do you exactly want to put out. That's number one. Second, I feel, I'm sure you'll agree, is work integrity. That's very important. And I think it's actually just about being true to your work, and having passion to do it, man. I mean, I feel these three things are main, and then
Yeah.
the rest will follow. Rest is secondary. But yeah, I mean, for me, these three things are there.
I think just in addition to this, when you mentioned passion, right? I think with passion, there's also a sense of responsibility to each individual and professional that you have to be open to learn, and just don't let, as you mentioned earlier also, okay, don't don't be a person where you feel that, okay, now I have this much of skill, so I don't want to, like, I'm not going to listen to anybody else. Be always open to open constructive criticism and just learn from your mistakes. And I'm sure that's what you did for the last few years also. So unique voice.
Unique voice, मतलब your own voice.
Yeah, no, I understand. What's your perspective on, or what's your advice to young professionals on how to choose a subject?
See, it's very subjective. I mean, you'll have your own interests, or you'll have, once you watch movies, you'll identify with few kind of films. You might have genres which might interest you. Then I also feel you should reflect upon your own life situations, things which have happened with you, around you. There are always few things which, if you ideate, you might ideate about 5 things. One thing will stay with you for 6 months. It'll still pop up to you, and then you'll see slowly it's become a part of your conversations. So I think that's when you have to, pick up and observe things. You have to see, it's a mix and match of a lot of things, but this is what, I think broadly is something which can help you in finding your voice, what exactly you want to say. And I feel you should just make it. Abhi to chalo phone bhi aa gaya, iPhone bhi aa gaya, you can, and it's very good. The cinema, this thing is very good. So just make something and just see exactly, because that's how you're going to learn. It's like अभी वही cricketer है, वो बोले कि नहीं मैं 30 साल पे खेलूंगा. My point is he starts playing when he's 10, no?
Yeah.
And then कि नहीं हम 30 साल पे सिर्फ इंसेप्शन लिख देंगे सीधा, वो नहीं होने वाला है, नो. You have to go and make a film, no?
Yeah,
So I would just say that make a short film, see for yourself, and then you'll it starts speaking back to you.
Got it. And your advice on both, if you want to, I think you've covered your advices, but would you want to split something between documentary and short film?
So fiction and non-fiction is what I'll
Non-fiction,
split
yeah.
into. Non-fiction is see, a lot of things have been made. So if you see Pata Laapata, this subject has been touched upon a lot of times. What we wanted was a new perspective. That's why we included satire in it. कि ये satire के साथ present नहीं करा है, तो इसलिए लोग देखेंगे. वरना आदमी क्यों देखेगा? Because this has been made a lot of times. So I feel right now in non-fiction you should pick up new topics, and your perspective, that would really matter. And like we spoke about this, your layout and how you're going to interview, the kind of music treatment, because non-fiction you can play around a lot of well. Fiction, I would say that again, your characters really matter, what you detail it out with. It's all about having an original idea or a new perspective, that way. So I would suggest one should read a lot and watch a lot of movies. Of course, I mean, that is there. But again, go back and see, ideate, and that kind of a thing.
Makes sense.
I would like to add interest in people. That's very important. If you are interested in people, in fiction, it will help you a lot. I mean, if you're just having a conversation with somebody, I usually ask, क्या खाते हो, किससे travel करते हो, something comes up, so
Yeah.
you have to be interested in people. That is there. Secondly, I don't think so being a good person is important. A lot of people have said that it's very important to be a good person, to be a good artist. That is okay, but I feel empathetic. You have to be empathetic if you want to be a storyteller. For example, if I am sitting with you right now, I should be, it should not take me more than a minute to just understand your situation completely and to match in your frequency. कि अगर भरत को pain feel हो रहा है, तो कितना हो रहा है? I should be just able to empathize with that. So these two qualities I feel are very important if you really want to tell good stories. Yeah.
That is true. I'm just
So a lot of people say कि
Yeah.
अच्छा इंसान होना ज़रूरी है, but I have seen artists, अच्छा इंसान होना वैसे ज़रूरी है लाइफ में, but people who are probably not the nicest people, they just know how to be empathetic.
Yeah.
They can switch themselves and they'll be completely be able to see the other person for what they are,
Yeah.
and then just take that in. So
I agree. Empathy goes a long way. Empathy and gratitude, both of them go a very long way. Interesting. That is actually a very good perspective and advice to how young filmmakers should look at.
Because see, if you see, which is your favorite film? I'm just asking you, or one of.
Mine, interesting. I would say now, because you called out Inception पहले तो I think Nolan is one of my favorite directors.
Right, okay. So Inception or no?
I would say I prefer Tenet over Inception.
Okay. Now that's a narrative-driven
Ah.
film. So see, one is narrative-driven, or if you can give me another example of your favorite film.
I would say Interstellar, one of my favorite films.
Okay. So if you see, it's actually a father-daughter story. You know,
Yeah.
at the core of it.
Yeah.
We remove all the physics. So it's actually about characters also. A lot of people say Sholay is our favorite film. It does not have a great plot. A great plot, I mean, it has a classic plot.
Yeah.
But it is Gabbar Singh, it is
Yeah.
Thakur, it is Jain Viru. So your interest and empathy, you know, you have to make characters.
Yeah.
Mr. India is known for Mogambo. My whole point is a lot of favorite films are actually just characters.
Character driven.
Godfather is character, you know.
Yes.
So it's very important that character part is like very important part of the story. That is what will make your film stand out, you know, that kind of a thing.
Now that you say it that way, I think that makes sense. When
Three Idiots is Rancho, or you know his friends.
Yeah.
I mean, and Baman Irani for that
Baman
one.
Irani, yeah.
Munna Bhai is Munna Bhai. You know, so if you see it that way, for a lot of films, it's the characters. That's why we call them our favorite films. Films which are not narratively driven, you know, which are character driven.
So, what is your favorite film?
There are many, but I really like. There's this guy called Alejandro Inarritu. He made Birdman and Revenant.
I love Birdman.
Yeah.
It messed with my head so much. I had never seen a movie
Yeah,
like that. It's
at that time I thought I should leave because you know, like
that,
it was
how
so
am
good.
I supposed to top this? Yeah.
Yeah, it was so good.
Oh,
So and
yeah.
Revenant made me realize. I mean, that's something it did with me where I realized कि मुझे लोगों को माफ करना जरूरी है. I don't need to have a bench. You know, not that I'm going to go after and kill somebody, but you need to forgive people in your head. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you'll be distorted.
Yeah.
But that's what that film did to me. You know, that kind of a thing. Then there's another guy called Bong Joon-ho. He made Parasite, Memories of a Murder. So again, like that guy really rapped. In India, I really like Farhan Akhtar. He's my favorite director.
Yeah.
And Imtiaz Ali. Like these two people I really love.
100%.
And Shekhar Kapoor also, sorry.
What do you like about Imtiaz Ali, Farhan Akhtar, and Shekhar Kapoor?
Their films, when I saw them, I mean, Dil Chahta is something which I don't know for what reason, but it stays with me. I feel they have made cultural
in cinema.
classics. If you see,
Yes.
Dil Chahta is a classic.
Classic.
Lakshya is again, it comes in that list.
Yeah.
Dawn again comes in the list. That's
Yes.
what he's made till
Yes.
now. Has he made something else? No, I don't think so.
Farhan?
As a director, no.
As a director, no.
So
I
I mean,
think he's coming up with the project.
he's coming up with the project. So that thing. Shekhar Kapoor again, he made Masoom, which was a cult. Then he made Mr. India. Then he made Bandit Queen. And then is now making films in England. But again, like, you know, all three cult films. So, I mean, I don't know. These films really had a deep impact on me. Like I told you, what Revenant did to me.
Yeah.
Something Rockstar also did to me. Tamasha also did to me. Tamasha, in fact, I think a lot of people who did not have passion also left corporate jobs.
Yeah.
And then joined back. So, you know, like, I feel their films had a very, very huge cultural
Wide
impact.
impact, yeah.
So, yeah, that really like, and it's a blend of commerce and art, if you see, like, you know, these filmmakers. So, I think, yeah, I don't know why it resonated, but these three.
No, I agree. There's this one movie which resonated with me a lot. It was, I'm forgetting the name. It was Liam Neeson starring him, and it was about, I'm forgetting that, yeah. He was in a plane crash and there were wolves around, and there was this movie. Yeah.
Okay, I have not seen the
So
film.
what resonates with me the most is our dialogues and literature.
Okay.
So what a movie is trying to say and how they're saying it, how the characters are saying it. Of course, if it has less dialogues, then my focus would be on what's the director trying to depict in the scene, how they've written it, how they've shot it. All of that is fine. When I'm not looking at for entertainment, when I'm like, even when I'm looking at from an entertainment perspective, I always have that lens because of theater. But theater and literature, my interest in theater and literature as a kid always inculcated this in me, that I love dialogues. I love good dialogues, and I love when they are saying, when it's almost poetic as to what they're saying, whether it's a conversation or whatever it may be. So that is something which resonates with me a lot. So my perspective is always that. Okay, so favorite film we touched. Favorite actor?
In Bollywood, Ranbir Kapoor, I think.
Ranbir Kapoor.
Yeah, I think he can do any kind of roles. commercially, if you look, I'm not talking about Animal. Before that, a lot of his films were commercially not doing well. But still, I think as an actor, he has a lot of great talent. That's why he gets to work with the best people.
Yes.
So for me, I think he's one of the.
And he's getting better. He's getting better and better with each project.
Well,
And
I have a bias for him, so I might not be able to answer that. But I feel he's always been like good.
Okay.
Even Vicky Kaushal, for that matter, I
Yeah.
really like a lot. So
Yeah.
that's there.
Hollywood actor?
Difficult. I think it has to be Christian Bale, or yeah, he's really good.
The amount of work he does for a role is insane.
Tom Hanks also.
Tom Hanks is brilliant.
So these two.
Denzel Washington is brilliant.
Yeah, a lot of people.
I
Jake
like
Gyllenhaal.
his son also, yeah. He
Yeah.
did a fabulous job in Tenet. He did a great job in Ballers,
Ball,
the
yeah.
TV show, and other things also.
There can't be a favorite, but
yeah,
favorites.
yeah,
Yeah,
favorites.
yeah,
A few favorites, I agree. Favorite actresses in Bollywood?
I think Alia Bhatt would be there.
I was about to say, वो रणबीर की तरफ से भी, but Alia killed it with Highway,
Yeah.
and it was just.
And I think Gangubai was like really well.
I've not seen Gangubai, but
Okay.
I've heard it's actually good. But I have no doubt on Alia's performance because of how she performed.
Right.
Popular opinion, unpopular opinion, I don't know. But what Abhishek Bachchan did in Guru was,
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
it was phenomenal.
I think what he did in Ravan was also phenomenal. I don't know why that film was flanked, but
Ravan.
Ravan, in which Aishwarya Rai was there. It was a Mani Ratnam film.
Oh, I've not seen
Okay,
it.
okay.
I remember the poster now. Now that you say it, but I
But yeah,
don't.
Guru
remember.
was, and especially
Guru
the
was-
court scene when he actually, that was phenomenal. Yeah.
I had I first of all it was I did not anticipate or expect that, but ever since I know that he's gotten a lot of shit on his projects and the work he's done, but I think after Guru there was nothing else to prove. Like he had proved it then and there as to what range he has and what kind of an actor he is. You mentioned you're into reading also. So favorite books?
So I read a lot of Rumi,
Okay.
Khalil Gibran,
Okay.
less fiction. So
Correct.
I read a lot of poetry,
More poetry.
and a lot of couplets, things which like there's a lot of philosophy in Sufism, and they talk about things which are very hard to talk about. They talk about very complex emotions, and
Yeah.
they'll try to talk to you about some essence like which actually cannot be spoken of. So I try to read a lot of that. Which kind of helps me to write something or gives me inspiration. So yeah, I'm more into those kind of things.
Same. Every once in a while, I pick up Faiz Ahmed Faiz. I've got
Okay.
two versions, English wala bhi, Hindi wala bhi. And every once in a while, I just open it up, ऐसे randomly open up a page and just read what's written.
Okay.
और कभी-कभी मेरे को जब motivation आ जाती है कि okay, I've got a topic in my mind and I write it down and everything. Then I usually tend to revisit what I've written before and just try to perfect it. But is that something? Do you write also?
Yeah, right.
Any particular piece which you're proud of? And if
Oh,
you
I
could-
mean, you mean couplets and this?
Couplet, yeah.
No.
Prose
I write,
or
no.
poetry?
I write fiction only. I mean, I
Acha,
write
okay.
stories, but there is a certain degree of influence of.
Of course.
Yeah. But
Of
no,
course.
I don't.
So
write
you don't
couplets.
write poetry and prose yourself?
No. But I feel that reading all of this impacts the kind of dialogues I'm writing.
Definitely,
Yeah.
100%.
That's there.
So I think we've covered majority of it, and being conscious of time also, I didn't even realize we've taken about more than 1.5 2 hours almost. So we've covered the advice to people. We've covered what is it that you like, your experience over the years. I think just to end it on a positive note and just manifest good stuff for us. What does the future hold for Aditya right now, and what is it that you want to do, few people you want to work with, and how do you envision the next few years going for you?
I just feel for right now I'm concentrating more on writing. I feel it's a very integral part of this entire process of filmmaking. So I'm kind of putting myself more into it, learning it, and hopefully the idea is to write 3-4 screenplays and try to convert something for a feature film. So that's what my future plan is. Let's see how it happens.
Amazing. I'm really looking forward to your next projects, and I can't wait for us to have this conversation again on other projects once you've done. And I'm sure we'll get more insights on what kind of learnings you've had over the last few years and in the upcoming few years. And I'm very excited for you. I know, ever since I've met you through mutual friends 6 years back, although we've not talked for a while. But ever since I've met you, I connected with you instantly, and because you mentioned you were a filmmaker, and that is something which I wanted to do, but I couldn't, and I was stuck in engineering at that time. But I'm very happy to see the progress you've made over the last few years and the learnings you've had. And thank you so much for sharing those today. And I'm really looking forward to our next conversation.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me. Again, I still feel I don't. But no,
Modesty.
thank you for having. And it was really, really, like, we had a conversation, and I also did not get to know how time went by. So it was great. And perhaps me coming back after 4, 5 years would just make me go and make something. So thank you for
Oh,
that.
amazing. I can't wait for it. But thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for spending your time with me also. I loved it. And yeah, we'll talk soon.
Yes, sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.